Some towns have history, some towns have industry. Brooklyn, Ohio has perfectly manicured lawns. It's a place built on simple truths. You mow your grass on Saturday mornings, you put your recycling out on Tuesdays, and you do not, under any circumstances, leave your prize-winning petunias unattended during a full moon. This is a town of quiet streets, and even quieter ambitions. People here value a good, sturdy deck and a reliable sedan. It's the kind of place where the biggest news story is usually a bake sale at the high school. Or at least, it used to be. Things change, even in Brooklyn. But beneath the calm surface of this suburban paradise, a new story began to whisper. It started small, a knocked-over trash can here, a suspiciously large footprint in a garden bed there. At first, folks blamed raccoons, big ones, then maybe a stray dog, a very, very large stray dog. But the evidence started to get weird. A single perfectly chewed garden gnome, a set of swing sets mysteriously rearranged into a modern art installation. These weren't the acts of a common raccoon, this was something different, something with a little more flair, and a lot more fur. They call him the Brooklyn Wolf, a name spoken with a mix of fear, annoyance, and a little bit of local pride. Is he a monster? A beast from the depths of folklore come to terrorize the cul-de-sacs? Not exactly. Think less bloodthirsty predator and more clumsy neighbor who borrows your hedge trimmer and forgets to return it. He's a legend, all right, but he's a suburban legend. He's the reason you find your morning paper inexplicably on your roof. He's the shadow that sets off your motion sensor lights at 3 in the morning, only to be seen fumbling with your bird feeder. This is the story of that wolf. It's a story about a town, a creature, and the chaotic, ridiculous, and sometimes heartfelt intersection of their two worlds. It's a tale that proves that even in the most ordinary of places, you can find something extraordinary. Or, at the very least, something that keeps knocking over your recycling bin, no matter how many times you ask it to stop. It's a testament to the fact that community is a strange and powerful thing. It can build a gazebo in a weekend, and it can learn to live with a werewolf, more or less. Every town has its pillars. In Brooklyn, one of those pillars is Brenda Donaldson. Brenda is the head of the neighborhood watch. She takes her job very, very seriously. Armed with a high-powered flashlight and a binder full of laminated emergency contact lists, she patrols the streets in her minivan. Brenda sees the Brooklyn Wolf not as a nuisance, but as a direct threat to the suburban way of life. She believes in order, rules, and the sanctity of a well-maintained lawn. The wolf violates all three. She's a good person with a strong spirit. She just has a hard time accepting that some problems can't be solved with a sternly worded letter. Brenda's husband, Gary, offers a different perspective. Gary is a man who just wants to grill in peace. He loves Brenda, but he views her crusade against the wolf with a healthy dose of skepticism. While Brenda is organizing late-night stakeouts, Gary is usually in the garage, working on his model train set, or trying to figure out why the Wi-Fi keeps cutting out. He's the voice of reason, or maybe just the voice of someone who'd rather be watching television. He thinks the wolf is probably just a big dog, maybe a coyote, or a kid in a very convincing costume. He just wants a quiet life. Then you have the youth. Teenagers like Chloe and Liam see the whole thing for what it is. Hilarious. They are the town's unofficial social media correspondents. Armed with smartphones, they document every strange occurrence. They were the first to capture blurry footage of the wolf trying to ride a child's tricycle down a driveway. Their TikToks about the hashtag Brooklyn Wolf get thousands of views. They don't see a monster, they see content. They find the adults' panic endlessly amusing. Their sarcasm is a shield against the utter weirdness of their hometown's newfound fame. They are the modern-day storytellers of this suburban saga. And finally, there's Kenji Tanaka, a reporter for the local news station. Kenji takes his job as a journalist with the gravity of a war correspondent. He reports on the wolf sightings with a furrowed brow and a serious tone, standing in front of slightly trampled flower beds as if they were a major disaster zone. He sees this as his big break. His on-the-scene reports are filled with dramatic pauses and intense speculation. Kenji wants to uncover the truth. He just happens to believe the truth is far more dramatic than it actually is. He is the chronicler of the chaos, turning every minor incident into a headline. The wolf, whose human name is Walter, doesn't see himself as a monster. He sees himself as a guy trying to get by. His transformation is less of a curse and more of a major inconvenience, like having a roommate who's really messy. By day, Walter works from home as a freelance graphic designer. He's quiet, keeps to himself, and has a deep appreciation for strong coffee and comfortable sweatpants. He tries his best to be a good neighbor. He just has this one little thing that happens every full moon. It makes things complicated. He wishes he could join the neighborhood book club, but the meetings are always on a Thursday night. His wolf form is awkward. He's not a graceful beast of the night. He's more like a golden retriever in the body of a 9-foot-tall wolfman. He has human instincts trapped in a wolf's body. He gets lonely, so he tries to play fetch with car tires. He gets curious, so he peers into windows, accidentally scaring the life out of people watching television. He once tried to order a pizza online in his wolf form, but his claws made typing on the keyboard a real challenge. He ended up ordering 37 anchovy pizzas by mistake. The delivery guy was very confused. His attempts to blend in are legendary failures. He saw his neighbors having a barbecue, so he tried to start his own grill. He ended up setting a lawn chair on fire. He wanted to contribute to the community garden, but he dug up all the carrots because he thought they were playing a game. He's not malicious, he's just clumsy and operates on a different set of social cues. He's like a foreign exchange student who hasn't quite grasped the local customs, except he's also covered in fur and has a tendency to howl at passing ice cream trucks. It's a tough life. Walter's biggest struggle is loneliness. He sees the community gatherings, the block parties, the friendly waves between neighbors, and he wants to be a part of it. But how do you introduce yourself? Hi, I'm Walter. I'm the one who's been accidentally rearranging your patio furniture into strange sculptures at night. It's a conversation starter, but probably not a good one. So he watches from the shadows, a lonely, furry face in the dark, just wishing someone would invite him over for a game of cards. Even though he knows he'd probably eat the cards by accident. Brenda Donaldson's neighborhood watch meetings became the hottest ticket in town. Held in the community center basement, they were a spectacle of suburban anxiety. Brenda would stand at a podium in front of a whiteboard outlining her latest plan. Operation Capture the Critter, she called it. The plan involved nets, tranquilizer darts ordered from a questionable website, and a series of complex traps involving large quantities of bacon. Her presentations were passionate, detailed, and completely unhinged. She treated a knocked-over birdbath with the seriousness of a national security threat. The meetings were a mix of concerned citizens and people who just came for the free donuts. The execution of these plans was even more comedic. The first attempt involved a giant net trap, baited with a rotisserie chicken. The trap was supposed to fall on the wolf. Instead, it fell on Gary, Brenda's husband, who was just trying to sneak out for a late-night snack. He was tangled in the net for a good 20 minutes before Brenda realized her mistake. Another time, they set up a perimeter of motion-activated sprinklers. This did not deter the wolf. It did, however, soak the mailman 3 days in a row. He was not pleased. Their efforts became increasingly elaborate and increasingly ineffective. They tried to lure the wolf with recordings of wolf calls they found on the internet. It turned out to be a recording of a chihuahua barking. The Brooklyn wolf was just confused. He sat on a nearby hill, tilting his head, wondering why a very small, angry dog was yelling at him from a Bluetooth speaker. The neighborhood watch, hidden in the bushes, interpreted his confusion as a sign of cunning intelligence. They believed they were dealing with a master strategist. They were actually dealing with a very perplexed werewolf. Brenda's pièce de résistance was the human-sized hamster ball. The idea was to trick the wolf into the ball and then simply roll him to the authorities. No one was quite sure who the authorities for a werewolf were, but that was a problem for later. The plan failed spectacularly when the ball, left on a slight incline, rolled down the street on its own. It caused a multi-car pileup at the town's main intersection. The wolf, meanwhile, was miles away, trying to figure out how to use a vending machine. The town was no closer to catching him, but the local auto body shop had a great month. The Brooklyn Wolf's fame absolutely exploded thanks to Chloe and Liam. So, one night they captured a video that would, well, totally change everything. The footage showed the wolf discovering a forgotten trampoline in someone's backyard. At first, he kind of cautiously poked it with a claw. Then, with a burst of joyous abandon, he started jumping. It was honestly a sight to behold, a 9-foot-tall werewolf, bouncing awkwardly under the moonlight, his fur flying everywhere, looking like the happiest creature on earth. Chloe and Liam uploaded it with the caption, "He's just living his best life." The video went viral overnight. The world, just fell in love with him. He was no longer a monster. He was an adorable, clumsy cryptid. Hashtags like Tarn Brooklyn Wolf and Trampoline Wolf trended globally. People made fan art. They wrote songs about him. Talk shows discussed the Brooklyn Bouncer. The town of Brooklyn, Ohio, was suddenly on the map for something other than its annual Petunia Festival. Tourists started showing up, hoping to catch a glimpse of the famous wolf. They bought t-shirts. They bought wolf-themed coffee mugs. The local economy had never been better. But, yeah, this new fame did not sit well with Brenda Donaldson. In her eyes, the public was romanticizing a menace. "He is a public nuisance," she declared at a town meeting, holding up a blurry photo of a half-eaten pumpkin. "This is not cute. This is vandalism of a seasonal gourd." But her voice was drowned out by the growing chorus of wolf supporters. People started leaving out gifts for the wolf chew toys, oversized sweaters, and even a new, larger trampoline. The wolf Walter was honestly baffled by the sudden influx of free stuff but was not one to complain about a brand new trampoline. The town was divided. On one side, you had the traditionalists like Brenda, who saw the wolf as a problem to be solved. On the other, you had the new wave of fans, who saw him as a local mascot. The town council meetings became heated debates. Should they embrace their new celebrity cryptid? Or should they double down on their efforts to capture him? The Brooklyn Wolf had become more than a legend. He had become a political issue. All he wanted to do was jump on his trampoline in peace. He had no idea he was the subject of so much debate. The final straw for Walter was a segment on Kenji Tanaka's local news show. Kenji, in his most serious journalistic voice, aired a special report titled "The Beast of Brooklyn, A Monster Among Us." The report used dramatic music and highly selective evidence, including a close-up of a footprint and an interview with a distraught Brenda Donaldson holding a gnawed-on garden hose. The report painted Walter not as a clumsy misfit, but as a dangerous predator. It accused him of everything from property damage to scaring local squirrels. It was, in a word, defamation. Walter had had enough. Being a misunderstood legend was one thing. Being slandered on public television was another. He decided to take action. He found a lawyer online who specialized in cryptid and supernatural entity rights. Her name was Beatrice Grimshaw, a sharp, no-nonsense woman who had previously represented a gnome in a property dispute and a ghost suing for unlawful eviction. She saw Walter's case as a landmark opportunity. She immediately filed a lawsuit against the news station and Brenda Donaldson for defamation of character. The Brooklyn Wolf was taking them to court. The trial was a media circus. Reporters from all over the country descended on the small Brooklyn courthouse. Beatrice Grimshaw was brilliant. She argued that her client was not a monster, but a follicularly gifted individual who was the victim of prejudice. She presented the viral trampoline video as evidence of his gentle nature. She called witnesses who testified to his harmless, if clumsy, antics. She even put Walter on the stand. Through a specially appointed animal-to-human interpreter, who was actually just a guy who claimed to be very intuitive, Walter explained that he never meant any harm. He just wanted to be part of the community. The defense, led by a flustered local attorney, was a mess. Their star witness, Brenda, came across as obsessive. Her evidence consisted of blurry photos and a binder full of conspiracy theories. Kenji Tanaka's dramatic news report was played in court, and it was met with laughter from the jury. In a stunning closing argument, Beatrice declared, "This is not about a wolf. This is about acceptance. This is about whether we will greet the unknown with fear or with an open heart, and a sturdy trampoline." The jury found in Walter's favor. He was awarded a symbolic $1 in damages and a public apology. Just as Walter was beginning to enjoy his newfound legal victory and local celebrity status, a new challenger appeared. From the shadows of rural Ohio, a rival cryptid emerged, the Buckeye Mothman. Unlike Walter, the Mothman was slick. He was charismatic. He had a mysterious, silent allure that the town found fascinating. He would just stand on rooftops, staring, with his big glowing red eyes. He never knocked anything over. He never accidentally set anything on fire. He was, in a word, cool. And the town of Brooklyn was smitten. The Mothman started to steal Walter's thunder. The tourists who used to come for the wolf were now hoping for a glimpse of the Mothman. New t-shirts started appearing in the gift shops, featuring a sleek, winged silhouette with glowing red eyes. The local news, now wary of another lawsuit, started running soft focus. adoring segments about the enigmatic visitor. Kenji Tanaka described him as a silent guardian, a watchful protector. Walter, the clumsy, lovable wolf, was suddenly old news. He was last week's viral sensation. A passive-aggressive rivalry began to brew between the two cryptids. Walter would try to win back the town's affection with grand gestures. He tried to bake a cake for the town bake sale, but it ended up looking more like a collapsed pile of chocolate and fur. The Mothman, in response, would simply fly over the town at sunset, creating a beautiful, fleeting shadow that everyone would talk about for days. Walter felt like a classic rock band whose opening act was suddenly more popular. It was deeply frustrating. The tension was palpable, at least to Walter. The Mothman, for his part, seemed completely unbothered. He just stood there, being mysterious. Walter would see him perched on a telephone pole and let out a low, annoyed growl. The Mothman would just blink his big red eyes slowly, as if to say, "Is there a problem?" This silent judgment was worse than any open conflict. The town of Brooklyn was no longer big enough for two celebrity cryptids. Something had to give. A showdown was inevitable. It just wasn't going to be the kind of showdown anyone expected. The annual Brooklyn Petunia Festival was the biggest event of the year. This year, the town council decided it would also be the stage for the ultimate cryptid showdown. They didn't want a fight. They wanted a talent show. Brenda Donaldson, now grudgingly accepting of the cryptids, was put in charge of organizing it. The Brooklyn Cryptid Cup was born. The winner would be crowned the official town mascot. Walter and the Mothman were pitted against each other in a series of suburban challenges. It was the most anticipated event in the town's history. The first event was lawn care and maintenance. The Mothman, using his wings to create a gentle breeze, perfectly cleared a lawn of leaves in under a minute. It was elegant and efficient. Walter, on the other hand, tried to use a lawnmower. He couldn't get it started, then he accidentally pushed it through a fence. He ended up just eating the dandelions in frustration. The crowd chuckled sympathetically. The Mothman took an early lead. The pressure was on for the Brooklyn Wolf. He was losing on his home turf. The second event was a bake-off. The Mothman presented a perfectly constructed, multi-layered cake that was visually stunning, though no one was quite sure how he made it without hands. It was a work of art. Walter, remembering his previous baking disaster, went for a simpler approach. He presented a large bowl of what he called berry surprise. It was just a pile of berries he had gathered from some bushes behind the community center. It was messy, it was unrefined, but when the judges tasted it, they were shocked. It was delicious. Walter had won the round. It was all tied up. The final event was community spirit. Each cryptid had to perform an act that embodied the heart of Brooklyn. The Mothman flew to the top of the town hall and used his glowing eyes to create a mesmerizing light show in the night sky. It was beautiful, but it was distant. Walter, for his turn, walked nervously to the center of the stage. He didn't perform a trick. Instead, he just started howling. It wasn't a scary howl. It was a long, lonely, and surprisingly melodic sound. It was the sound of a misfit who just wanted to belong, and in that moment, the town understood. Walter's howl won them over. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't cool, it was just real. The crowd fell silent, and then they started to cheer. They cheered for the clumsy, awkward, furry guy who set lawn chairs on fire and messed up their gardens but still showed up. The judges declared Walter the winner of the Cryptid Cup. He was officially the town mascot. The Mothman, ever the silent professional, gave a slow, respectful nod, and then flew off into the night, presumably to find another town to be mysterious in. He was a class act, but Brooklyn belonged to the Wolf. Walter became a true local icon. He was no longer a nuisance, he was our nuisance. The town embraced his quirks. People started leaving out chew toys for him on purpose. The neighborhood watch was officially renamed the Wolf Welcome Committee, and Brenda Donaldson became its reluctant but dedicated president. Her new mission was to ensure Walter had a safe and comfortable environment, which mostly involved reminding people not to leave their sprinklers on at night. She even knitted him a giant, lumpy sweater for Christmas. It didn't fit, but it was the thought that counted. Life didn't become perfect. Walter still knocked over trash cans sometimes. He still got tangled in Christmas lights. He still couldn't figure out how to use the self-checkout at the grocery store. But now, instead of calling the news, people would just laugh and help him out. He became a fixture of the community. He'd show up at Little League games and sit in the outfield. He'd help with community cleanup days, mostly by moving large logs out of the way. He was still a lovable misfit, but now he was their lovable misfit. And so, the legend of the Brooklyn Wolf continues. He's a reminder that communities are built not on perfection, but on acceptance. He's a testament to the idea that even the strangest of neighbors can become part of the family. He remains a furry, awkward, and profoundly suburban creature, forever a part of the fabric of Brooklyn, Ohio, a town known for its manicured lawns, its quiet streets, and its resident werewolf, who, every now and then, still tries to ride a kid's tricycle down the street, just because it looks like fun. And that's a pretty good way to build a town.